I can't read that from here. It's very difficult. Is this beer? Like, we don't use this language in wine. Would a consumer really understand? Sometimes we get caught up in ourselves as designers and we think it's a really big difference and it's obvious. All right, so here we are in the boxed wine category. This is King Soopers, which is Kroger everywhere else. This is a newer store, so it's absolutely huge. It's one of the biggest Krogers I've ever been in, and they have a very large wine section. This is the boxed wine set, and I'm just going to point out a couple things to you. As I look at the shelf, what really I see is sort of a couple big sections. It's brand blocked for sure. You've got the big value brands down here, Franzia and Vella, which honestly looking extremely similar here. Big value plays. Definitely, I know Franzia is one of the brands that kind of started the boxed wine and really was a more value one. And then you've got some bigger players up here as well. This is a brand block set. You've got Bota box here with a big set, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute and what I saw. You've got Black Box here. They've been around for quite a while. Award-winning wines in box. You've got Barefoot here extending into this. I'm going to talk about that too because I see a couple very interesting things there. And then kind of in the middle, you've got a smattering of a couple other brands here, and I'm going to speak to them. Just backing up again and taking a look at this category. What's interesting is you actually do see several different sort of branding strategies going on here. From a design standpoint, you've got everything from owning a color with that's Black Box. Of course, literally they're called Black Box, and really changing out the color for varietal. You can see within Black Box, they've got sort of the core line here, which is all black, premium wines. They're really sort of an achievement-oriented brand, always highlighting how many awards they've gotten. What's interesting here is they do have a couple variations going on. The core line here, they do have origin regular wines. Then they actually flip the script on their copy. And instead of being, hey, this is the varietal, this is where it's from, this is probably single varietal here, they've got a blend here, and then they do have a cab. But what's interesting is you take a look at this. Why would they do this? And I'm just talking out loud here as I'm showing you this and kind of shopping the set with you. These are both Cabernets. Right? This one's from Chile, so there you go. This one is from California. Why did they not just do Cabernet Sauvignon California with a bit of a different descriptor? They did it differently, right? It's now they're shouting deep and dark, so they're going after that flavor seeker a little more, I think, and they've treated the graphics differently. I can see why they might do that. Obviously, they're different origins. They're not different price points that I can see. So just a question I'm going to put it out there is, would a consumer really understand? Like, why do you need both? Why did you do a different treatment? It's one of those things whereas sometimes we get caught up in ourselves as designers and we think it's a really big difference and it's obvious. I don't know that it is. I'm just putting that out there. Anyway, so you've got your core Black Box line. They also have this, I think this is newer. This is the first time I'm seeing it. It's a low-calorie boxed wine. One of the things I happen to know about wine is that low-calorie, from the data I've seen anyway, it tends to go a little older. So this is probably sort of a boomer focus extension. Maybe they're looking to sort of cut back a little as they're a little bit less active. And again, every time you see low-calorie, my brain goes right to it's probably targeting a slightly older demographic. Whereas let's say if you saw zero sugar or low sugar on any one of these, it's probably going after a younger demographic because they're not counting calories as much as they are trying to avoid sugar. So here's Black Box. I also think it's very interesting. Like, I get why they would do this from a merchandising standpoint. Like, why would they do the brand block here? They have the low calorie here, but they split it up. The other low calories up there. Usually you don't see that on a platform. Probably the reason they did it is because they just put it right next to their regular varietal, Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet, and then Chardonnay. So that's Black Box. Black Box as well as Bota Box. The two brands that I would say have most really revolutionized the box wine set and really took what Franzia and kind of Vella started and really elevating it. Now, Bota has a very similar strategy to Black Box. What you see here is, again, they've gone with varietals here, with their core line. They also have a low-calorie line, not merchandised exactly the same as Black Box here, but you get the idea. They have actually created a sub-brand for their low-calorie line. I think that's very interesting. Black Box did not do that, right? If you go back here and you look, it's just Black Box, premium wines, lower calorie. This is just like a platform, although it does look quite a bit different. You still know it's black box, but it looks honestly a little bit more feminine. That's probably on purpose if they're trying to get, again, my thoughts are it's probably boomer women. Over here, it is low calorie. That's a hero call out, but they've created this sub brand called Breeze, right? Underneath and a different sort of visual aesthetic. I will tell you, this is just my opinion. Let's back up and take a look. If I'm standing here and I'm sort of a mainstream, slightly better boxed wine drinker, I am probably, I'm going to know black box. I'm going to know Bota. Maybe I am interested in maybe a slightly lower calorie product. This is just me. I think I would notice Breeze faster and be attracted. I think they've done a better job with this Breeze font and this nice, clean call out right here. It's very readable, even from 3-4 feet away. Whereas over here, it's almost like all I see is black box and I see it's like an artsy visual. It's such light font. You really have to come in to see it. It's such lightweight. And then they've put lower calorie again here, but it's gold on cream. I can't read that from here. It's very difficult. Okay, here's another question going on with Bota Box. Going back to Bota Box, they've got their core line, they've got their lower calorie, right? Bota Box Breeze. They also have Nighthawk. And I got to tell you, this one stumped me a little bit. I think, again, from 4 feet away, I don't know that I would know that that's Bota Box. You really have to kind of walk in and walk in some more to see. Oh, it's by Bota, right? So now Bota is an endorser of this new brand Nighthawk. And I actually stood here for quite a while before starting this video, trying to kind of understand why Bota would have done, here it's a core brand. Here they did a sub brand. Why did they do an entirely new brand endorsed by Bota? Why, right? Like this was a little bit confusing. What's different about Nighthawk buttery Chardonnay right here than this Chardonnay? I don't really know. I've kind of maybe this one's more buttery. Maybe the thing I did notice is when you look at their Bota core line, they say the varietal, they say award winning. This line here is consistent no matter what product you're looking at. Award-winning wines that are eco-friendly and portable. Honestly, I think they should lock this copy up with Bota Box. That's a brand statement. The fact that they put it underneath the varietal, right, the flavor name, that's very confusing to me because I'm expecting if I see Bota Box and then I see Pinot Grigio or Sauvignon Blanc and then I see small font copy, especially if it's a couple lines underneath the varietal, I'm going to read that descriptor, right? And then, Chardonnay. Well, what kind of Chardonnay? Is it oaky? Is it buttery? It doesn't tell me. It does not tell me. That was actually pretty frustrating. Bota, change your copy there. Describe for me what it is. Now, going back to Nighthawk, I think that's probably maybe why they did it this way. They are explaining to you what kind of Chardonnay right here. Or again, vibrant. Like, well, what do we mean by that? Tell me the flavor notes, right? A rich red wine blend. Tell me the flavor notes. I do know that describing the flavor is very valuable. So kudos to Nighthawk by Bota for doing that. I do go back and I wonder why a new brand? Maybe they are just trying to get a new consumer into the Bota. They want to use the credibility of Bota without maybe the box. Right? There are still some consumers out there who don't think that boxed wine is very good. That could be why they're doing that. And again, just me looking at it, it almost looks a little bit more masculine. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're trying to bring in men. I don't know. Bota, tell me why. Okay, back here, last little couple comments here. I was looking to myself and I'm like, what's the most premium brand in the set? Like backing up, don't read the label. What's the most premium brand in the set? Just visually, my guess. In my mind, I might have said either Nighthawk, although it's the same price as Bota. This looks a little old to me, although it's gold and that's the design. It isn't right, but the colors are very premium. Anyway, long story short, it's this one, Provisions. It does look a little more artisanal, but this is the most expensive item in the set. That's my point there. Boy, look at that heavy discount. Woo! They really got to pump up their business, I guess. Well, they have 0 wine cues on there, so that's tough. And I don't know anything about it. Summit, you really got to add more visual or copy language to let me know how your wine tastes. This doesn't look like it's going to taste good. It looks like it's going to taste like ashes or something. It's so gray, so black. I don't know about that. I bet they could do a little better there. Last point I want to make to you over here. So Barefoot, right? This has been a major mainstream brand success for, I don't even know when they launched, 2 decades ago. I'm not quite sure. But here's their sort of boxed wine execution. Couple points here is, unlike a lot of the other brands, they went full color flood for their varietals. So boy, does that pop, right? And now, mind you, they have a well-known brand with that big Barefoot logo, so I think it works for them. The notable thing I wanted to talk about that I saw on this is their choice of sort of creating a brand modifier here to their brand name, right? It's not just Barefoot Wines, it's Barefoot on Tap. Barefoot on Tap. It's boxed wine. So maybe instead of Barefoot boxed, they put on tap. I'll tell you, sounds silly, but I actually got very confused by that language. If this boxed wine was, let's say, on a display and in the middle of the store or somewhere else and not just right here, obviously it's Barefoot Wines, but if I read on tap, I would have almost thought, maybe, is this beer? Like, we don't use this language in wine. I'm a little worried this would confuse consumers, and I don't know what you'd get for that. Like, why would you take the risk on that new language? It's kind of cute, maybe, but it's actually more confusing than it is cute. I would have just said nothing and just call it Barefoot or Barefoot Wines. Like, I don't know why you need to say on tap. I mean, it's clearly in a box. I don't know that you need to say that. So if I were to change anything here on this Barefoot pack, it would be just get rid of on tap. I guess they trademarked it. Probably some marketer wanted to get cutesy and own something. Actually, it's registered. So they must have had it for a long time for it to be Circle R. I don't know. That's what I have to say about that. Clearly, I could talk a very long time about boxed wine because I just did. And this is just one of this very large row here at Kroger's. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of a category teardown and analysis of a hot and growing category. Thanks so much.